introducing us profusely and extremely grateful for your kind words. I have been privileged that I spent some time with you yesterday also, so to that extent I have certain advantage in the sense that I saw you doing a great job yesterday and I must compliment you.
Thank
and
you.
one of the things which I admire is that when you were making presentation yesterday, I could see that there is a lot of conceptual clarity in the team, you know. One of the conceptual clarity which this team possesses is that you are very clear that your customer is not only the person who is buying your product. You have absolute clarity that customer includes the whole range of stakeholders. So that's something very fundamental. Oftentimes, we underplay. When we talk about customers, we only say the one who is buying my product or internal customer. But the fact is that everyone around you is your customer. So that's something which you have understood and I compliment you because in your presentation I saw that. Because in the kind of world we are living, we cannot only afford to delight the buyers and colleagues. Because there is a whole world outside. They are waiting to be delighted and they are waiting for an amazing experience. And if we do not give them amazing experience, Tuticorin can happen. I don't know, you will recall Tuticorin. You know, this copper plant and about a couple of months back, last year in fact, you know, there was a police fighting and about 40 odd people died. So they are the stakeholder, your public is the stakeholder, they are your customer. So, and you understand it and that's something great which I hear. Let me also kind of do a bit of forwarding. The panel is heavily loaded towards technology.
Not Sunil.
So many a time HR people or why HR people, a lot of other young people, they get scared कि ये technology बदल दी हमारा क्या होगा? Artificial intelligence आ रहा तो नौकरियां खत्म हो जाएंगी। ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला। किसी की नौकरी नहीं जा रही। Artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtual reality, yeah, they are coming, but they are tools. They will not replace you and me. They cannot. And I will encourage you to go and watch a couple of YouTube films, videos. There is a German futurologist, his name is Gerd Leonhard. बहुत अच्छी फिल्में होंगी, Gerd Leonhard, मैं शेयर करूँगा। गर्ड ने ये कहा है कि आने वाले वक्त में ये सारी जो टेक्नोलॉजी है वो हमें हेल्प करेगी, लेकिन एक चीज टेक्नोलॉजी हमें नहीं दे सकती है, वो है ह्यूमन इंसाइट, ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस, एथिक्स। सॉफ्टवेयर चीजें टेक्नोलॉजी के पास नहीं होंगी। So you will continue to be the boss, you will continue to be the master. That's something we all have to understand. Yesterday evening after the dinner, Prem, Vijay, Pradyuman, and probably a couple of other colleagues, we were also spending some time and we were kind of doing a brainstorming. This panel से हमें क्या चाहिए? Of course, Prem has already explained that what are the expectations. But one of the things which I would like to highlight is that does culture play any role in defining customer centricity? And if yes, how do we leverage that? You may have great technology, but if you do not have cultural moorings or anchors, can you delight, can you manage your customer? So that's one of the points. And of course, the whole set of questions which Prem has talked about, I'm absolutely mindful that we are running short of time, literally. But this wisdom which is available on the stage, they can go on for 5 hours. Each one of them can speak for about an hour, but we do not have that freedom and liberty to experience them full time. But we will have to do it justice, whereby we will have to cut short and bring about some kind of an order. So that's that. And at the end, probably I will bring back Javed Akhtar once again, like yesterday, and see if we can correlate this theme, customer centricity. But before that, I wanted to acknowledge Pradyuman Pandey somewhere around?
Yes, he's there.
Can you come to the stage? I want to compliment you, and I need a mic. I need a mic. Mic, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, I want to compliment Pradyuman for his energy yesterday. The kind of energy you showed, Pradyuman, that was fantastic. The presentation which you made was wonderful. And I could see that passion, that energy, which was so visible. And I don't think that he had any other thought but to not only enjoy, but also to bring about that kind of ambience where each one of us can enjoy. And by that passion, he created that magic. And that magic, I could see from a distance, was, welding the whole group. And in the process, somewhere, this connect, collaboration, and value creation was happening. So I thought I will compliment Pradyuman for that outstanding job. Wonderful job. Why I did this? Why I did this? Because we all have to learn to acknowledge, appreciate, value, whenever we see value around us. Sometimes we are miser. And if I can speak in Hindi, हमको तारीफ करना नहीं आता। हमको शिकायत करना बड़ा आता है, तारीफ करना नहीं आता। हमें तारीफ करना सीखना पड़ेगा। अगर हम कस्टमर सेंट्रिसिटी की बात कर रहे हैं, तो somewhere we will have to learn to appreciate our customers, whether they're insider or outsider or whoever it is. So on that note, चूंकि टेक्नोलॉजी यहाँ पे हावी है, तो टेक्नोलॉजी से ही बात शुरू करते हैं। और ऑरेकल का हिंदी होता है क्या, जो जादू कराता है। तो नीरज से बात करते हैं। और नीरज, लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ यू। व्हाट्स योर टेक ऑन this whole concept of customer centricity and technology? Of course, we will come back to Sunil ji and we'll talk about culture. The culture के ना technology का क्या हो? We'll talk about that. So when you are talking, Mohit, you can add value, agree, disagree, and similarly Aditya also. So we will flow as seamlessly as possible. I will interject wherever I feel like. And we thought yesterday, Prem, that somebody will collate questions. So I don't know, Pradyuman, आप करोगे क्या? अगर questions इकट्ठा हो जाएं, और क्योंकि हो सकता है there will be a lot of questions which we may not be able to answer because of short of time, but we will definitely pick 4 or 5 good questions. And as a matter of fact, I would like to recognize really the best question.
So those who have questions, please go down on a piece of paper and pass it on to everyone. Both of them will coordinate, and that will make sure that those questions are put up to the moderator. Questions are taken up. Please feel absolutely free, whatever you want to ask.
So thanks all. Thank you, I would say everyone, for this opportunity, and I would say especially JK organization for giving us an opportunity to interact with you. That on very interesting topic, which is very well needed at this point of time, wherein we should all be aware that what is centricity people. Second, on the collaboration, and third one is creating value. It is, first of all, just to let you know that I was an HR guy and then moved on to technology and implemented various solutions and digitized processes. While doing that, what I learned that human touch will not be able to replace, human touch will remain there and technology will not be able to replace human touch. And emotions, and I would say ethics, and some other things, and even acknowledgement and appreciation. These things cannot be replaced by any technology, and that is the core or concept of, I would say, that human resource department. The important aspect over here is, I would say, that centricity. I know that, like, we have been reading a lot of quotes, and one of the quotes says that we should treat our employee the way we want our employee to treat our customer. So that means, so far, earlier, when I would say that initially we were only treating our customer as God, and we were assuming that if we treat our customer God, then we could win the world. But now the time is changing, and we are putting our employee first, and that is what is needed. And how technology is bringing or adding value or connecting such kind of dots, wherein we could treat our employee as an asset or capital. The terminology from human resource to human capital is coined because of this reason, so that we can start giving value to our employee, which is human. So the technology is a great concept, which is, I would say that, gelling each and every, or connecting the lost friends, or connecting a lot of employees who are actually far off, because we are expanding our business, we are doing a lot of things in our area, and we are spread all over. Earlier we used to have small offices wherein we would go and meet with all, have face-to-face connection, and later we were having very good connections and good relationship. But now the time has come and we have got multiple offices, multiple locations, global offices, and we have no way to connect with them face-to-face. So technology is filling that gap, or that is where I would say that connect comes. So if I relate with this team, I would say connect comes when we are going to meet, the technology is helping us connect with each other even though we are far off. Like we have gathered here from different locations, but we are connected through technology. If I say that, have you all seen each other earlier, you may not have seen each and everyone. But this is a forum wherein you can connect with all. But technology is helping you to connect with all while you are sitting in your own office and so on. So that means you are connected with each other, and you are sharing your thoughts, and then also collaborating. So second thing is, I would say, collaborate. So all of you are connected, and hence you are able to collaborate. Collaborate in terms of you are just sharing your great things, and I would say that sharing your work, sharing your way of doing work. And secondly, using technology, it is easier for us to collaborate with each other and share your process with all, that too by clicking one button and then spreading it all over and sharing your, I would say, achievements or the great works, which nobody could offer except technology. And third one is creating value. I would say HR has been adding value throughout. Obviously, earlier it was a cost center, and now we are treating them as a capital, and they are also contributing in the business revenue or generating the business. And that is why it has become very important now that just to treat our employee also as a customer and give them similar kind of experience or similar kind of thing what any customer would look for. So if we treat our employee well, so the same way they would treat our customer in the same way generally. So this is I would say myth, and it actually, as per my understanding, it works fine. And how technology is enabling all of them. So I have been part of, I would say that HR, and now I've been part of technology, HR and IT. I would say that what we prefer to give to our customer, if I take example of some of the technology organizations like Uber or Amazon or any other technology, what are they offering? They are not holding any, like Uber is not holding any, I would say that taxis, but still they are managing their business. So that means technology has created value. And we are able to bridge those gaps wherever there were issues. And they are connecting each and everyone quite easily, that too with the help of technology. And similarly, from HR standpoint, how HR can make use of such kind of connect, collaborate and this, you can provide similar kind of thing to your employees so that they can get most of the things or queries resolved. As I would say that my co-panelists, they are also managing AI. Similarly, we have been using AI, and which is actually helping employees resolve their issues immediately, giving them an option to raise their queries and get their answers there and then. And also they can also seek feedback, or they can collaborate with anyone just to get the issues resolved or share their knowledge or information with each other. So I would say that the technology is the core concept at this point of time, but obviously it is not going to replace emotions, I would say ethics, or any other, I would say, human touch, which is very well needed to appreciate each other and fill those gaps or connect those dots. I think I will come back on the
So when you come back, I would like you to give some very specific example. As I said at the very beginning, that this audience is pretty clued on the concept. This audience knows very well what customer centricity is, what is connect, and theoretically they know it. what they want to hear from us, that what exactly they can do. So something very specific examples will be helpful. So Mohit, you have done some great job. I know, I'm aware. I know this young man from last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. He runs a great organization and he does some great work. So Mohit, I would like you to tell very specifically that what are your offering to this audience? What they can do whereby it will enhance their customer centricity.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Singh. Fond memories of interacting with him when we were getting Jaspreet off the ground. And two people I admire, Singh and Singh, here work closely with his team at Walkhart. So thanks so much for inviting me and Hindu for all the help and the arrangements. Really appreciate. I don't think otherwise I would have ended up in otherwise. So great experience in the morning. I worked with Darshan at the Architect as well. So really appreciate this opportunity. You know what I really found intriguing when I received an invite from Prem was the topic was customer centricity. You know, in most HR conferences these days, the topic is technology, topic is AI, but this was unique in terms of the topic is customer centricity, and my team also found it quite intriguing. Because what I believe is, and I'll get to specifics in a couple of minutes, technology is a means to an end. Technology is commoditized. It's available as much as you like, but technology on its own can't do anything. There are enough and more technology implementations across organizations after organizations, and many of them are empty deserts. What I mean is fantastic technology, brilliant user interface, but nobody uses. Perhaps people who implement those technologies don't know why they are implementing it or what is that they are going to achieve through that. So the point is, the reason I liked the topic was this is what is defining our function today. HR as a function is at the cusp of being redefined. And if this thing, customer centricity, connecting, collaborating, is kept at the center, while we design anything, we ensure that this function adds multifold value than what it is doing right now. So for us, we don't deal with our direct customers. We deal with our employee customers. And often we try to list down the pain points that our customers face, right, which are the employees. But the era is coming where not just listing down pain points, but actually listing down the impact of those pain points needs to happen. So for example, if I am offering a recruitment service for my internal customer, or I am offering a leadership development offering to my internal customer, is that solving the problem? We often complain, so along with assessments at Jombay we do a lot of leadership development work. We engage a lot of population across different generations. Now the biggest challenge is that this function has been facing is people don't want to learn. And we have so many offerings and people don't come and want to learn we are doing noble cause, right? We are trying to help them, we give them service, trying to help them get better, but people don't want to do it.
Mohit, who doesn't want to learn? HR guys or?
I mean, HR guys do. Their own customers, the business guys, for them, learning often doesn't become the top priority. Now, we could say that people don't want to learn, or perhaps our offerings are not good enough, or are not focused or positioned in a way that it solves their problem. So the moral of the story here is, if we keep customer centricity as the core of how do we make people learn? Are we being wise when we are giving our offerings? Are we being witty? Because in today's world, boring content doesn't work. And you can have slides after slides, but people don't want to read those because they get such fantastic content on their WhatsApp and Facebook. Why would they really bother doing boring learning that we offer? And are we being relevant? Right? We are a diverse set of businesses. Are we being able to contextualize those offerings? And then are we being able to articulate what's in it for me? So all the principles that we do for our customers. Now when we look at learner segmentations, do we look at who are our early movers? Who are the fence sitters? And who are the skeptics? Today's learning and development functions need all that you do in marketing and sales to attract your customer. Are you getting the early stories of the early movers and using those success stories to tease your fence sitters? can we have 70-80% of our organizations very engaged in the learning and development efforts that we do? And we have experimented with multiple of these options, keeping customer at center. Organizations like Pizza Hut or Times Group or a variety of organizations have successfully implemented 80-90% engagement in their learning journeys by surely being customer focused.
Give me a concrete example, Mohit.
Yes. So, for example, Pizza Hut had this, and this information is in public domain. We've done a webinar with them together. So, they wanted to engage their restaurant general managers. Now, this population is homegrown, not one of the most sophisticated audience that you would meet. Learning is not a culture. They are spread across the country. There was no learning culture there. Now, what we did with their team was we said, what gets them? So, A, we identified this audience is busy. It's attention deficit. At the same time, they are kind of mini entrepreneurs running their own restaurants. So, we designed a 4-month learning journey, not just a 1-day workshop. 1-day workshop, we all get inspired, and next day life moves on for most of us, we forget. So we designed a journey, we put it digital. Digital was a means to an end. Because there's enough and more micro learning platforms out there. But what was the trick was we made the content really witty. We caught attention of people. Half of the team was focused on first engaging the audience. We ensured the content was wise, well researched, but at the same time was witty and was their day-to-day job. Only one competency was the focus area, people leadership. We didn't try to do 10 things. When we look at customers, we can't really, so the parallel to customer centricity is when you're designing an intervention, you got to figure out, will I do it myself? The people who were designing it were asked, would you do this? You're designing it for somebody else, but would you yourself use this? That's the first rule of customer centricity. Put yourself in the shoes of the customer. If you think you're not going to do this learning intervention, please don't prescribe it to somebody else. So one is that. Second is today's age, the customer also has less attention span. So do you. So keep it really short, simple, and 3, use technology to give you scale, give you real-time analytics of who is doing, who's not doing, segment the audience, and technology allows you to do all of that. But technology was not the core of the design. The design was customer-centric, keeping it interesting for people, and then seeing effectiveness over the period of 4 months. We saw about 50% of, we did a 360 degree before starting the intervention. After 4 months, another 360 degree was rolled out. At least 50% people showed an improvement in people leadership and about more than 90% of them were engaged through the journey. So what started with 70 people doing it was expanded to 250 people across the country, and next year to about 1,000 people. So by surely being customer-centric, we could turn around a boring space of learning for as diverse an audience as a restaurant general manager, and that's what we as a function need.
So Mohit, when I come back, I'm going now to Sumit and I'm asking a different kind of a question. Before I come back to you, I would also like you to tell us that through this intervention, what and how customer centricity was impacted. Could you measure that? Could you show that this is how the customer centricity improved from 30 to 50 or 60 or 0 to whatever? Can you give me a number that through this intervention, use of mobile technology and whatever, this is how customer centricity needed more? So if you can come later on. Adit, I'll come to you a little later. I'll go to Sunil. I'm coming back to that, my favorite subject, my favorite topic of customer centricity. My basic take and hypothesis is that if you are not glued to your values, if the organization's values are not being leveraged, customer centricity will not happen. I'll show you an example of Patanjali a little later, but let me hear from Sunil. How do you take the role of, say, mission statement, vision statement, and more importantly, the value statement, which most of us, if you ask an employee, will not be able to recall कि मेरी कंपनी के values क्या हैं, और उसको leverage करने की बात तो बहुत बाद में आती है. So, what are your take on this, and can you give me some specific examples? Can you give me, if you're consulting, background, some cases, if you can kindly?
So I think that's an excellent question. I'm glad that we're not just talking about technology. While technology is important, but I don't think we need to be slaves to it. It is an enabler. It's a friend, and that's how we need to look at it. So, firstly, must compliment you on the diversity of the panel, and then you had called me and mentioned that we're trying to get a lot of diverse thought on the table. So I think that's excellent. I'll try to answer your question and give my comments focusing in a couple of tranches. One is, I couldn't agree with you more. I work in a sea of technologists in Accenture. Often I get confused to be an IT guy. So when someone, the taxi driver somewhere in some city, if I'm traveling overseas, asks me, where do you work? Accenture. Oh, you must be good at computers. I think stereotypes, right? One is Accenture, second is Indian banda hai, so IT wala hoga. So in fact, then I have to go at pains explain how I work with people. Famous quote of the well-known Peter Drucker, if you all remember, that culture eats strategy for breakfast, I think he said. I have said that not just breakfast, lunch, dinner. I personally feel culture also does the same thing with technology. And I think we heard some of our colleagues here talk about adoption or learning being boring. It's because at the end of it, it is a little bit humans. At the end of it, we all like having a great experience. And today, one of the things that has happened more and more is because of technology. The experience of using technology has become so much more energizing and enriching. And that's where organizations, HR functions, sometimes tend to miss the trick. Which is the fact that, the famous iceberg model. I change the system processes, I create the metrics, I do all the right things to implement the technology. But what's under the water, which is what, if I remember my high school physics, 7th, 8th or 6th, 7th of the iceberg, which is where the values, the beliefs, what is very important to me happens, which is culture, which is at the heart of culture, that does not get addressed. And that's the reason why you have this situation where people are very, very happy using social media and shopping on Flipkart or Amazon, but there's not enough adoption of the technology interventions we make to drive customer centricity ultimately. And I personally believe, the point you mentioned about, we need to appreciate, and it's a very, very interesting gesture you made at the start of the panel discussion. Absolutely. I think customer centricity has to be first by changing our mindset from a scarcity controlling mindset to one of growth and abundance. Give to get. And that is at the core of our organization's value system of culture as well. In fact, I would say that yes, you have to focus on your customer, whoever it is, maybe it's and as Dr. Singh you rightly pointed out, it's more complex than just being your employees. It's probably the entire ecosystem that you're talking about. However, before that, you need to first appreciate yourself. The journey begins from within. So that culture of appreciation and reward lies at the heart of driving something like customer centricity. Because if my employees are not feeling great, if I'm not feeling great, how will I serve my customer? So that's one. From an example perspective, now from a product concept, let me try to make it a little more specific. Some of the work that I would say, some of the more interesting work that I'm involved in, and what my practice also is involved in, is around this whole element of the fact that you call it customer centricity or you call it human-centered design. Because it's all about experiences now. In fact, today, the biggest challenge that I feel is that we still will live in a functional world. In a world which is an industrial engineering world, thanks to Dr. Frederick Taylor and the revolution he brought in, is that we tend to think linear. It's great. I think left brain thinking, the way to look at that solves problems. However, it does not take into consideration the element of what the human experience needs to be. Specific example for in one organization that we did, global organization. They were a mining and metals company, and they move people around a lot. And they're also into petroleum, so upstream, downstream, people going to various sites. Now, simple thing of I get promoted and I get posted from Uzbekistan to Mongolia. Now just think about it from an HR perspective. There's a transfer process, there's also a change in role. Now, to just move that employee, the employee has to probably go through 4 or 5 different functions, and everyone has a process and an SOP, and it's all a technology. But isn't that really the kind of experience you want to give to the employee? So they said, look, let's just literally obliterate all the functional silos the process doesn't work functionally or cross-functionally, no swim lanes across these different functional areas. It's all about putting the person in the center and saying, it's a service. And how do you give a person a similar service? So what we ended up doing was we said that there is a mobility service. There is a mobility service. It's not about this HR will do, this finance will do, this IT will do, this admin will do. Mobility service. Any employee who needs mobility, that's the service. So I like the point that was made that HR is in its thinking becoming more and more like sales marketing, because the employee, whoever it may be, inside the organization, outside the organization, what service does that employee need and what experience are you giving? So I think I tried to answer it at a couple of points. I don't know if I was specific, but that was one example.
We'll come back to you, Sunil. Mohit had certain observations to make, but before that, I'm just checking out. I'm sure you are coming out with your questions. You are writing down your questions. And where is Hindu? Hindu around, I had given a presentation, a Patanjali presentation. I would like you to load that, and I'll show a couple of slides from there. And
in the meantime, Dr. Singh, if I can be allowed to ask a question, and it is actually, I'm sure.
Take the mic.
Yeah. And maybe I'm trying to ask a question on behalf of a lot of HR professionals, and it's a dilemma, I must admit. I also face at times. Sunil, you mentioned about experiences, employee experiences, and we all appreciate that employee experiences do make the real core of customer connections. They are our customers. And there is a whole discussion going around that capture the moods of people every day as they come in, get their feelings, capture their feelings almost every day. And last night we were debating. Now, while it might sound to be very trendy and very in thing, but my question to the panel is: are there some successful examples of this? And how is the experience? How is the result? And does it really make a significant very monthly or So that's a question which I had. Maybe at an appropriate time, I would request you to further on that.
Amit is volunteering. Adit is volunteering. So maybe he will respond to your question.
And
then
we will
come back to
more questions.
Mohit. Okay. And yes, I also wanted to ask. I wanted somebody to tell me, share with this audience, this panel, what are JK organization's values? Can somebody share?
Yes, I can talk about that.
So maybe
So
a
we
little
have-
later. Maybe
sure.
a little later.
Yes.
Right, to answer
So let Adit respond to your question. This is
Yes.
specific answer.
Yes.
to answer Ben's question, so we've been working, and Tina has been working a lot, with large organizations like JK, in beverages, in manufacturing, FMCG, etc. And we do a lot of work in getting feedback from employees on a daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly basis. So I'm going to take a specific example of an FMCG, a large FMCG customer base in India and Southeast Asia we work with. Now, the entire process of taking mood scores or feedback, it's not only about mood scores, I think it's more about feedback, about everything, it's the entire employee life cycle that's happening. So, recruitment process, onboarding, learning, performance, setting goals, etc. So, the idea is about a feedback culture. The idea is about you getting feedback about your processes. So, already this panel has mentioned a lot about, customer centricity for employees, right? And employee experiences. Now, how do you know that it is not working, right? How do you know on day one that, okay, there is a problem? And you know it via taking feedback across that process cycle. And that is essentially what is very important. Now, there is a big flag out here. Now, I have seen customers who use our product to take feedback on the processes and then don't act on it. Now, that is going to be a massacre. So, if you're going to go to someone and say that, how are you feeling today? And they say, I'm not feeling good because of this, and you don't act on it, then it's going to be, the worst nightmare for you. So if you're taking feedback, you have to make sure that you act on it as soon as possible. And the idea is only this: as much feedback as you can take and act on, the better the organization will be throughout the employee life cycle for the experiences. Now I'm going to just take 2 more minutes and touch more about Sunil. So we are working with one of the largest insurance companies in India. We are already working with them. So what happens there is they have a travel form. So you guys have to raise travel requests. The travel request form is like 5 pages. I have to go from Mumbai to Pune. Do I need to write a 5-page form for that? And I think that's the exact problem that is facing Indian corporate today. So while those forms were created probably in 1990s or 2000s, they have just continued to technology has come out. So mind you, that form is getting filled on an application, probably on a mobile phone or a laptop. But the thought process behind why do we need a 5-page form for a $5,000 travel is not being asked by anyone in the entire organization. Now, obviously, technology consultants all of these can come in and help you think about this, but the entire point is up to you. When you are building those processes, you're taking them to technology. Don't just take them to technology. Think of this as an opportunity. And I'd like to take the classic case of PwC on this. PwC globally, implemented one of the HRIS that's, I won't name them right now, but they implemented an HRIS. And they took this as an opportunity to actually collapse all the multiple levels of approvals that are required for things to a single level approval. Now, whenever you deploy technology, the onus is on you to make sure that the entire process is also streamlined while keeping the employee at the center of everything. And that's been my learning for the last 3 years or so being in this industry.
So we come back to Mohit and you want to add some
So,
quick points.
Yeah. So you asked about values and an example, since you said we should quote examples. One of the organizations who's really defined customer-centric values and lives by it, and I've closely worked with them for the last 6-7 years. They've been one of the first customers of Bombay. Is Taj Hotels. Their values, passion, sensitivity, and giving, are as clearly defined as anybody else can see, and they live those values. So from powering recruitments, so their psychometric instrument, we customize it to passion, sensitivity, and giving. Internal career progressions, their assessment centers also happen on passion, sensitivity, giving. The appraisal system, the internal system, people are not rated on competencies or anything. You get ratings on values. So when I first went and asked the HR head there, who was Prashant that time, what passion means and how do you really disseminate these values across the organization, he gave me an example. He said they glorified what passion means. So values can't just be on the walls. If we don't exhibit those values, don't amplify those values, and don't ourselves live by those values, it will be hard for us to get our internal customers.
And the value should be converted into behavior.
Yes, yes.
It cannot be
On the wall.
passion.
Yes.
So how do you demonstrate passion? That has to be stated.
Absolutely.
Prem, what's the JK Org's value? If you
So
can
we have
just-
3 values: care for people, integrity in all our dealings. Number 3, excellence in all our pursuits. 3 values.
Okay. And that's across JK Group.
That's
All companies.
all the company, all the
Wonderful,
group.
wonderful, wonderful. इंदु मेरा वो प्रेजेंटेशन जरा दिखाएंगे वो पतंजलि वाला उसमें 4 वैल्यूज मैं क्विकली दिखाना चाह रहा था एंड what Mohit was saying I just wanted to share that in Patanjali has 4 values they have been talking about. In fact when I joined their team we articulated it. Values are not benchmark. कल बात हो रही थी benchmarking की. You don't benchmark values. You discover or rediscover your values. So there were 4 values Patanjali had, and if you can go ahead into number 1 is seva. So they are basically Hindus, वो थोड़ा एलियन है, तो वो थोड़ा सारे शब्द उनके वैसे ही आगे चलिए, quick, pass, next, चलिए आगे, go ahead, चलते रहिए. Go ahead. Yes. So number 1, so seva, so service. Now, if you can see that it has been defined what seva means. Everything we do is governed by seva bhava. Humanity defines us. Service orientation is core of our work. Our efforts are dedicated to Guru Satta, Dev Satta, Lok Samagra, public good. So, what seva means, what service means? So, it has been very clearly articulated. It can be articulated still better. Second is samarpan, surrender. We surrender our individual and personal goals on the altar of Patanjali mission. Patanjali first, team second, individual last. Passion defines us, and this is what Mohit was talking about. We walk an extra mile every time. आप कुछ भी कर रहे हो, कस्टमर को जब आप कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं चलेगा भाई साहब, that's outdated. Customer delight, customer amazement. गोल आपका कस्टमर अमेजमेंट है, कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं है. थर्ड वाज संस्कृति. So आपका कल्चर क्या, आपका सिस्टम्स क्या है? So even what kind of wardrobe which you wear, no smoking, no drinking, all of it define your culture. So we are ever mindful of rich cultural heritage of our great nation. We respect and value each other. Respect का क्या मतलब है? उसको define करने की बात है. And lastly, संतुलन, सेवा, समर्पण, संस्कृति, संतुलन. चार सर. और जब संतुलन की हम बात करते हैं, सस्टेनेबिलिटी, और आप लोगों ने कल बहुत अच्छा बात बताया कि आपके जो स्टेक होल्डर है ना, खाली एम्प्लॉई आपका मतलब सर ये नहीं, आप द होल इकोसिस्टम इज योर स्टेक होल्डर. So powerful. I mean, all of you are absolutely at a different level, and I respect that. So converting values into behavior and ensuring that this behavior really delights and amazes customer. So that's something which I wanted to highlight. So we'll come back to Adit. Probably you wanted to add, and Sumit also. Neil, you wanted to say something more, and you wanted to show some film also.
Yeah, so I would like to share some of the examples. I would say, because I have been told to just connect technology with this theme. So as I mentioned that I moved from my HR profile to HRIT, and what kind of challenges I faced during that time, and later how did I overcome those challenges, and also how those challenges actually helped the organization to achieve some of the, I would say that, capability maturity model, as well as I would say just took care of all those areas which were actually the bottleneck for the organizational growth. So I'm sure that some of you or most of you may be having a similar kind of challenges at this point of time. And these challenges are, first of all, I would say, the main challenge at this point of time is work-life balance for employees. So wherein what we do generally, we are just involved in so many activities, and although if we are involved in one activity also, we are just not getting time to give it back to our family. And secondly, I would say that the other challenges, I would say that, as one of my co-panelists mentioned, that the processes are quite old. Like the same way, I think the processes remain old. And when we generally try to make anything, I would say, employee-centric or connected or whatever, but still we feel that the kind of processes or kind of things which we were using earlier should be executed or provided in the same way in our I would say that connected system, so that we should not we don't need to change like how to adopt those practices, because what I found, the organizations moved ahead with a lot of digitization even earlier days with some system like I would say that ERP or any other system, and even homegrown system, but at the same time adoption rate was very less, and even people were forced to use it but they were not using it. If I take example of any evaluation exercise, no evaluation exercise was as good as organization was expected. They were not able to take action and they were not able to take strategic action to improve on various aspects. So I think these are some of the challenges, but at the same time, the HR was always expected to provide every information to employee. So means if I need to find out something about me, even leave balance, I have to go back to HR. Although if it is on system, I can go and see that, but I will go back to HR for various queries. So that means there is some missing part wherein when I was managing HR, I was finding that I was more involved in my regular or operational thing than my business oriented or strategic value activity, being a HR guy.
Thanks, Mayor. So this will be the last round kind of. I will ask each panelist to make one final statement, one example, one takeaway for this audience. And then we will take the questions, because I'm aware that it is very important that we interact with each other. Maybe you wanted to say something.
Yeah, sorry about that. In fact, the reason I wanted to quickly connect is because you were discussing the same topic. about that point. Values. And there is a brilliant question that has come from Surinder Kumar of JK Lakshmi Cement. Is there any example where the technology has been used in driving the awareness about values and mission of the
Wonderful question. That's a great question.
That's a great question, so I thought I'll listen. So any example, any...
In fact, in Patanjali, technology was not used, but as Mohit was also saying, and I'm sure he will add value to, that value has to percolate across everything. It has to be part of your performance management system also. So when I was there in Patanjali, I ensured that we judge people, sorry, that's a wrong word, judging people, but we will definitely track that how did you demonstrate sustainability? How did you demonstrate service orientation? How did you demonstrate your surrender to the organization and your customer? So it became part of, it became the integral part of, and Ajit will definitely have some examples. So Mohit, you can take.
When we mean that we want to drive values, means we want to drive some behaviors, which means we want to drive certain habits in people. It's like building muscle memory. Now, how do you do this? There's a science called nudging. When you nudge, 21 times you do something, it starts becoming your habit, or it starts becoming your muscle memory. That's where technology comes in. Technology brings persistence. Human beings bring creativity. And when creativity and persistence meet each other, that's where habits get formed. So there are several customers where we run these journeys. So as part of our development journeys, we reinforce certain values. And the way we do that is every week, twice or thrice a week, we send a small nugget to people to do it on the job. Like, you live this value today. It could be a small thing. For example, if it's about being caring your employees, there's a small nugget called a pillow talk test that comes to you today on your mobile device, which tells you, preempt which of your people are going to go home unhappy today. Which of your team member is going to go unhappy today? And what could they speak to their partner about? That's the pillow talk test. You just have to think about it and reflect and note down. Now, 21 such activities are sent to you on a same behavior, which is, let's say, it's people-centric, or if it's passion, it's sensitivity, it's giving, or any value that you have. We curate 21 such actions for you, and technology helps to remind you all the time. Because personally, it won't be possible. Somebody is traveling right now, somebody is doing something. So technology allows you to deliver this at scale for all your managers, and then you can track who's demonstrating, who's not demonstrating. Has there been a shift in how people are thinking this value? So technology allows you scale, gives you persistence, and allows you to manage things which otherwise you wouldn't be able to manage. But that still needs human creativity on top.
Yeah, just a quick supplementary question. That's great. Is it the same behavior, same message you send across to everybody, or you further customize who needs what?
So it basis levels. In some cases, even basis a certain value a cohort should focus on, versus certain value another cohort should focus on.
That
can be personalized further as well.
Okay, fantastic.
So I have seen, like, I would say that value perspective that some of the organization, as he mentioned rightly, that one is nudges. But at the same time, I have seen that some of the organizations, what they did, they actually have got the continuous evaluation of values. That part of, one is the annual evaluation in the form of performance evaluation, and second one is continuous evaluation of values. Evaluation in terms of just to give them reminders so that they could revert back with some kind of responses, and basis that some kind of analysis can be drawn, and they could find out whether the values have been taken care of or met as per the organization expectation or not. So I would say two ways of managing the same thing. One is using technology. You can have regular nudges, regular reminders with specific, I would say, personalized, I would say that nudges, wherein they would go and then just put their responses so that the HR could judge that whether it's being followed or it's being implemented. Second one is that at the end of year, all those nudges would appear at the time of, I would say that in one of the section of values, just to see that what were the overall values shown by this employee. And at the same time, they just try to see that how the values are actually being adopted by the various individuals within organization. So two ways.
And this can be, so if somebody demonstrates a particular value, technology allows you to distribute it to others as well. As an example of one, so peer learning works here as well.
एक मिनट, आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में हो रहा है, by the way. It is happening. Probably you are not using technology, but it is happening. Remember Barkha's presentation yesterday?
Yes.
She was talking about sharing stories.
Yes.
So through sharing stories, you are encouraging, imbibing, strengthening that particular value, that particular behavior. So if you can use that technology to share a story, job is done. Job is done.
will get the scale.
Yes. So it's happening. You have to use that technology. So we are coming to the final round, penultimate round, where each panelist will speak for a minute or so, and very specifically share what are your giveaways and what are their takeaways from this whole exercise which we have. And then we will come and respond to the questions.
It's actually going to force us to focus more on human interactions. And in fact, research is showing that as transactions are getting automated, what we all need to do in organizations is to spend more time on the human things, which is about making connections, collaboration, which is exactly what we're talking about. That's one takeaway. The second takeaway I would say is that, and this is more, Dr. Singh, I think rightly said, let's be specific and say something that you could take away from the discussion today, is that it's very, where do you start when you're talking about, okay, I want to drive customer centricity, I want to use technology, at the same time I'm talking about changing behaviors. And there have been a couple of examples already that have been given. Start small, take a specific behavior, and I can tell you personally, something that we did in Accenture. 5 years ago, we changed our performance management system. We did away the bell curve. In fact, we don't call it performance management, we call it performance achievement. It's got that whole positive psychology element that it's forward-looking, it's not about rating, it's not about bell curve. So the one behavior needed to change, especially for people like myself with grey hair and who been working for 2 decades, was to start a culture of coaching and conversation. Not have performance feedback as something that happens at 6 months or annually, but every day. So we said, okay, everyone needs to have a conversation. We broke it down. We did some things called 30-day challenges, 100-day challenges, micro tasks, or what have you done, and we used technology to enable it. We used a platform where we did rewards. We also did name and shame. Sunil, आपने नहीं बात किया है, आपको रेड आ गया, या किसी ने 4 लोगों से बात किया, and to be honest, it has helped us rewire the way we behave as leaders. That's an example, personal example I thought, which I think we've been through a journey over the last 4 or 5 years. And today it's happened, the behavior has changed, and that's because at the end of the day, so technology was there, all that, but we have to define a specific behavior. What is it that we want to change? And customer centricity is something that you can break down into, okay, what does it mean for me in some very specific, just like I think those are some very good examples you shared in terms of what specifics does that value stand for. Yeah.
So I'm going to continue from where Sunil left off. We had this large banking customer. Now they wanted to do, I'm going to take a direct example here. They wanted to do continuous performance management, so something that you said, having conversations, regular conversations and feedback by managers to employees, and not only managers, peer feedback, coming bottom up, all of that, they want to do that. Now the technology obviously is available, that is cheap to build, that is cheap to maintain. But the problem is, as he said, getting that behavior to change. There was a survey that was conducted, over 80% of the managers did not know what to talk about in those meetings. So the most important thing for us when we look at all of these initiatives is to go back and think about what are the key behaviors that we have to instill in the organization. Now, nudge is obviously one of the ways you can do that. Again, there can be positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement that can be used. Negative reinforcement could be, again, name and shame, as James has already mentioned. But there can be other means as well. Now, those other means can use technology just to send out contents, again, personalized content, personalized words, to make sure that people realize the value of what you're doing. I was sitting with Lax. Lax is the CHRO of LTTS, L&T Technology Services. So he told me this, there is, in one of the employees, they had a problem कि यार हमारा इतना कम क्यों है? हमारा medical insurance 5 lakh दुनिया 3 lakh क्यों है, right? Now he had a very simple answer. He said, yeah, we know that only 0.5% of the people actually use more than 3 lakhs worth of insurance. तो पैसा खर्चा करना है, ये बेटा आपके CTC में नहीं जा रहा है. It is going from the CTC at the end of the day, right? So, but the problem is not even the HR VPs or the people who are facing those employees are aware of this, right? So it is about providing all of these explanations. This cannot happen. You can't do this manually, and that is where technology comes in play to take this to scale. So whenever you are looking at any of technology intervention, just do one thing: think of not only bringing technology for that process, but changing the process itself. Think about how you can make it, as Sir rightly mentioned, it's not about customer satisfaction anymore. People are using Instagram, Snapchat. Your employees in the JK group are using Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook more than they are using their computers, for sure, right? How will you how will you make them engage? How will you engage them with those applications if you don't make them as good as Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook, right? Or as simple as WhatsApp, perhaps, right? You have to do that. It is a business requirement for doing this. It is a business requirement today, right? And how can you do that? Is not just by thinking you're gonna buy a product, probably Bombay, probably Hinna AI, probably XYZ, and you're gonna install that. No, it has to come from a process level. You have to go back, think about the process. What are the things that you need to achieve, and then go ahead. Obviously, taking feedback throughout the way. Coming back and closing the loop on what you asked. Over to Mohit now.
One thing I'll leave you guys with, which my professor at Stanford University had told me, always have a disruptor mindset. What that means is, you got to ask yourself, what's going to make me redundant? What's going to make my function redundant if I don't change? The next 2 years are going to redefine this function. I closely track this, I blog every week. I track this space very closely. Either we're going to establish the real value that this function was set out for, or we are going to be redundant. Redundant means not our jobs are going to go away, but the value we would lose an opportunity of making an impact. So whenever you're thinking about your own role and your team, ask yourself, what can I do to make this product or service or my solution better that really changes the way business perceives me and my employees perceive me. So if you have that disruptor mindset and just ask yourself one question every day, I think we will be sorted.
I think some of the key takeaways, I would say that instead of acting as a HR or people officer, you must act as a chief happiness officer. In a way that you can just inculcate more happiness or bring happiness on their face, because that is very important. And I could see that even if you look at a lot of schools, they have started their happiness classes. So I would say we are so much overloaded with the work and other areas that we don't get time to think that there is a place for happiness somewhere. And at office we are continuously working, at home we go back with a lot of stress, and basis that we feel that we find that we are missing out somewhere. And next takeaway is, obviously, you being a HR guy, you have to empower employees and managers. Like, don't assume that just like we have to just help them out just by empowering them using technology. And next one is simplify the process. Simplify the process in terms of don't look for the old traditional processes, go for the redefined processes, reinvent process, and empower them to just execute the activities by themselves. And analyze the data and recommend action. So means technology is there to analyze data, but the system also recommends action. You need to act on that. As he mentioned that you may just check the mood analysis of individual, but at the same time, what will happen next? If you don't act, then the value of that initiative will go away. So that will have no impact. And next thing, I would like to show that how technology actually will take away a lot of, I would say that, areas of I would say that challenges what I shared earlier, especially work-life balance, etc. So I would like to show one video, small video. So I just want to show, just if you can help me out, I just want to show that how technology can help employee, manager, or HR to take
to a running start. Oracle, tell me what's happening today.
You have 4 events today.
Who am I interviewing?
You are interviewing Steve Tomlinson at 4. My favorite color is red.
I'll stick it white.
Are you gonna be on game tonight?
Bet, kiddo. Time to go. Oracle, tell me what's next.
Would you like to continue reviewing Steve's resume?
Yes, where has he worked?
Steve has worked at Motive Computing and Hub Networks. You are about to reach your destination. Do you want to reserve an office?
Yes.
Office 320 has been reserved for you.
Do I have time to stop for a kombucha?
That will add 20 minutes to your arrival time.
All right. Oracle, start my day.
Welcome, Lisa Jones. The office is set to your preferences.
Oracle, open quarterly forecast.
Okay, here is the quarter's forecast.
Thanks to Rob, that's really great news. Nope, we'll send documents over right away. No need to stay late. All right, take care. Oracle, start opportunity for Rob Barker.
Done. Would you like to review your meeting details?
Yes.
Here are the agenda items for the meeting. Quarterly forecast snapshot. Sales talking points. And by the way, it is Sally's birthday. Anything else?
Are all required attendees present?
All required attendees accepted.
Happy birthday, Sally. Thank you. Oracle, start my meeting.
As we become more and more dependent on technology, we start using more and more technology. How about the human touch? And are we losing the human touch? So emotions, feelings, how do we, any thoughts about that?
Seep into our lives. But one thing that has been thought of, I'm talking from an organization's perspective, is whatever technology that you bring in, the human touch has to be transferred from there. So technology gives you scale, but the entire architecture or the entire process, so I've been talking about process a lot, is dependent on you. It's essentially you who decide how human you want to make it, right? Again, coming back to my example of a 4-page travel request form versus just a 3-click one, right? You are responsible of making, you're responsible of making it human as possible, as easy as possible, right? And then I think the human touch also speaks to the points when it comes like things to career development, my path in the organization. Now those things, technology will only be like, I would say, a database, and each and every individual probably will have to, sit across the table and work with this profession to, grow in an organization. So I think the world is moving on wherein all the service requests, all the questions, all the queries that come to you as HR professionals, all the repetitive or the simple things, time is gonna get spent in things that really matter. And that is career development, that is skill development, probably looking at succession planning, and that is where your human element is gonna come out.
We'll take the next question. I think quite a few questions are there, and I'm sure at the end we can supplement.
There is another one that, and I'm sure this is a dilemma which most HR professionals will face, because they face the audience out, they face the employees, that as the technology is coming more and more automation is happening, there is a feeling of scare. is it going to displace lots and lots of jobs? And that feeling is a real feeling, and HR people face that question on and off all the time. Yes.
I think it will be helpful because again,
It includes data from India, where we asked the simple question to C-level business leaders that do you believe that you will invest in these new technologies to enhance productivity, blah, blah, blah. 70% said yes. But there was a question saying that, okay, because of the impact on the workforce, how prepared are you to also invest in reskilling your employees? Either people didn't have an answer or they said, we haven't thought about it. So that is the big challenge where I think we need to really, I would say HR needs to play an advocacy role that, we need to have a strategy for this. A strategy around how we will take care of reskilling and re-pivoting the workforce towards a new reality. Those are my 2 points on that.
very quickly, yesterday we were talking about productive paranoia. It's good to be afraid, it's good to be...
30 years shelf life has come down to about 5 years, and by 2025 it's supposed to be a year or 2, which means what you're going to learn today is going to be obsolete in a year. Which means reskilling and being a learning organization becomes imperative if you want to survive. So that's the challenge that's going to happen. There's no jobs are not going to go away, it's just that jobs are going to change.
Yeah, so
Can you read out the question and respond to the name of the person?
I just want to comment on this
I'll
topic.
read the question and then respond.
Before I just move on to this question, I just want to say that the HR has to play the same role what they played earlier when the IT revolution took place in 80s and 90s, and we reskilled many employees, and same way we need to reinvest time on them. That's it. That is the answer, and there is no way that we can manage. There is no way that we can't manage that kind of challenge, and that would actually be manageable by all of you as a HR professional, and reskill them to make them work in a different environment and technology. And my question, I think it was raised by Mr. Ajay Goyal, and he mentioned that can we cartoonize chatbots to connect employees? When I say cartoonize means the real pictures of employees, and of course the HR SPOC. It will add even element and will enable HR to engage employees while answering the query. The next question is, can we have a technological intervention where HR get the pulse of employee on a daily basis? Okay. So I think it's very good question. Can we cartoonize chatbots to connect employees? I would say that obviously so far what we did in the chatbot itself, if I am raising some question on the bot, it shows my image, like who's asking. Currently, it is actually the connecting employees image with the bot, and bot which is answering, assuming that if it is, I would say automated, it shows that the person who is responsible for that location or answer. So currently, it's just image which is available by raising question, and it's HR or the guy who is responding, that image appears. So currently that employee or bot can get to know that who has raised this question by seeing the face on it, and they could also see that who has responded. So that connect is already there. And I would say that if you look at now the bots which are coming up in the market, it contains that images, but at the same time, I would say that you would see that kind of change again, wherein even employee image could be there. If employee, I would say cartoonized image, etc. would also there, because we are trying to make it more personalized. Personalized in sense that if you are an employee, obviously that it should be personalized to your query, and at the same time, it should also have your image or your I would say that video something, so that the user or the person who is responding to the kind of query, maybe system or even somebody has come in person to respond to a query, would get connected quite well. So I would say answer is yes, that is possible.
So it's a very nice question. It's from Mr. H.K. Sharma, J.K. Weber, Gujarat. So for the success of e-learning initiatives, ready-made content provided by vendors does not encourage users. How can we be the partner in designing content? I'll answer it at a broad level. See, e-learning has been a major disaster in most places I have known for. A lot of investments, when billions of dollars have gone into that industry. It has worked really well for compliance.
any compliance related content, in most places e-learning has worked really well. For leadership development or managerial development, you need three things, which I said when we started. You need to be wise, you need to be witty, you need to be relevant in today's age. Wise, I think all leadership concepts largely are wise, there's no problem with that. You got to spin it in a way that in a certain form factor which goes to your end users. That's where wittiness and relevance goes. So, deeper context study with the business, ensuring what works in one part of your group may not work, what may work in the cement business may not work in the tire business as is. So, that last mile curation has to be done in partnership with you and the business, and that's where it succeeds. And on top of it, there needs to be kind of a practice coach. It's like an instructor coming home versus you going to the gym. The probability of you working out is far higher if the instructor comes home. So what's the practice coach who's observing all the content and dissemination of that content, segmenting the learners and getting them the right content. So you need both design and segmentation together for any learning journey to succeed.
Right. So the question is, I didn't get the name. So the question is, interface is needed or not when we are talking about 100% transparency, sharing information, knowledge and experience. So the answer is definitely yes. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, think about Facebook or think about WhatsApp, today the reach we as individuals have is because of those interfaces itself, right? Today if I put a post on Facebook or on LinkedIn, I suddenly can reach thousands of people, and imagine doing that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Would you want to call 1,000 people and tell them the same thing over and over again? It was not possible. But with those interfaces, with that technology coming in, we have been able to do that. So definitely when it comes to provide 100% transparency in sharing information, knowledge and experience, some or the other kind of interface is definitely required. It can be as simple as a chatbot which sends out information to everyone, or it can be as simple as an ESS, employee self-service portal, wherein you post content of what is happening, probably this event itself, or it could be proper institutionalized vendors that you can work with.
I have a couple of questions here. I think Abhilasha and Nidhi from JK Paper have asked similar questions about empathy and customer centricity, or the role of emotional intelligence when it comes to giving exceptional customer experience. How important it is? Absolutely. I mean, that's at the heart of it. Because, I think if you want to amaze your customer, you have to put yourself in the customer's shoes. It is all about empathy. It is all about being able to sense what they need, what he or she wants, rather than what you want to give. So I think it's absolutely at the core of it. There was a related question on how to develop people to be more emotionally intelligent. I think that's a long process. I would say that, but I think like all things that in terms of whether it's a behavior or mindset, I will not say that some people are more gifted than others. They seem to have natural sensitivity and empathy, but it can be developed. However, for that I believe personally, change has to start at the top. When you talk, more skills and examples of leadership development programs. I sometimes sit in boardrooms and I see people talk about, our people need to change. My question in my mind, which I often now start articulating because I can get away with being a bit blunt these days now, thanks to my grey hair, is that your people can change, but have you changed? So the best way to make people more emotionally intelligent is by making the organization more sensitive, and it has to start at the top. That's my simple answer. The other question was from Pradeep Bhatnagar from the Udaipur Cement Works, which is on latest techniques for doing talent segmentation to look at leadership pipeline. Actually, this is a technology solution. Recently did some work with a global power utility company where we did not meet anyone, did not ask anyone to fill up a survey or a psychometric test, and we came up with a top 100 of high potential leaders that they need to put through a program. We use Office 365, Microsoft Workforce Analytics. That's all I'll say. If you want to know more details, I'm happy to chat offline. Because the client said, make it touchless, but we want to know, basically use the concept called social network analysis to really find out where the hidden gems are, rather than going hierarchically in the organization or based on people's opinions. those were the two questions.
Okay. So,
Any other questions? We have time.
What
about
we will
20 minutes?
Prem, what we will do,
Yes.
we will go for a rapid fire.
Oh yes.
We will do a rapid fire.
Yes.
But let Mohit answer this.
It's a tough one if anybody else wants to answer this. How can we measure efficiency and effectiveness of customer centricity for improvement? I think if we take our context of if we were customer centric as a function, how would we measure the effectiveness and efficiency of it? In multiple facets, as retention gone up, has decision making gotten faster? Have we been able to promote people from within? So all the metrics that we track as a function can all be dovetailed into if we were customer centric, because which means if we were doing our job right, we would see all the reasons we exist is what would be the parameters of measuring.
Okay, we will come. So we are now changing the format. What we are going to do that you have asked very long questions and we have given longer answers. So this time for a change, you will ask very specific questions and we will give you answer in 2 or 3 words. We have to change, we all have to change, the times are changing. So whoever wants to ask a question, be very specific, don't make a statement. Ask a question, we will try to give an answer in 2-3 words. Rapid fire question, rapid fire answer. Go ahead. We have another 5 to 7 minutes, so we will take about 4 or 5 questions. Sawal puchiye.
Actually, we have about 20 minutes time.
Okay.
We have time.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes. Any questions?
Okay.
Yes.
So Mohit has to leave early. He has to
Okay.
take-
Disruption and transformation.
Short answer. 3 words. Good enough. Next.
Future of blue-collar workers. The blue-collar workers, the shop floor.
What's the question?
Where this reskilling part is pretty difficult. So what's going to happen to that blue-collar workers?
We'll have to find new jobs for them.
Or reskilling.
reskilling, yeah.
That's my puzzle.
You want to say something?
And
Want to say something?
I think
Go ahead.
we need to change our process of reskilling them, changing the process of reskilling. So adopting the new practice of learning for them also.
Okay. Next question.
And I will take this chance myself.
Yes. Maybe.
I think that's a dilemma which many times we have. So in HR there are whole lot of areas which can be automated, where the technology can be brought to play, and where you can really benefit from application of technology. Now you look at 2 major dimensions. One is ease of implementation of technology in this particular area. Number 2, the impact it can make. If you look at these 2 dimensions, in your experience, and this is open to all the panelists, which are 2 or 3 areas where the impact is high and the ease of implementation is also great?
So I didn't get the question properly. So you're saying that ease of implementation and impact of high impact. So
Yes.
how can we make okay?
Which are areas? For example, let me list: talent acquisition, onboarding, then you have employee engagement, connecting with the people, then you have LMS, learning management system, then you have talent management, leadership development, a whole lot of areas. So my question is, out of all these gamut of areas, which are 2 areas where the ease of implementation of technology is very high and impact is also
so
high?
with my experience working with and onboarding.
Okay.
I'll agree.
So yeah, at the same time I would say that the other area is, if I look at current way of managing learning management, if I say new way of managing learning management, that is also very easy to implement, because you just need to create, just record few content and put it and then recommend it. So social learning kind of thing would also be one of the area where you can quickly execute and then make it available to all.
And yes, please, Rajiv.
That psychometric
is in terms of L&D.
So how much weightage should be given?
Weightage. See, psychometrics was, if you look at the genesis of where this came from, these instruments were not built to eliminate people during recruitment. The real application which I have seen, the fair application of these instruments is to use it for selection, which means of how do you interview a person basis what this report says versus straight upfront removing. So instead of putting a weightage, the way I would say is I have seen organizations do is there are certain criteria set. For example, what is red, amber, green zone? If somebody is in the red zone, then what happens? If it's in the amber zone, basis the psychometric instrument, then a special permission or a couple of rounds of interviews are done. So don't put the hard weightage, but instead of using it for elimination, use it for selection. That's the fair usage of an instrument like that.
I'll just add to what particular theme, recruiting. There's a great article written by a professor from Wharton Business School. What he says that the way we are recruiting, I mean not only in India, is a very, very ineffective way of recruiting. We over-depend on certain methodology which doesn't work in terms of ultimate, the correlation with our selection process and that person being successful. So read that article. I have a hard copy, maybe I'll share and I'll send the link. As Mohit rightly said, that psychometric test gives you an, it's like any diagnostic test, on the basis of a diagnostic test, one test, you don't decide what kind of disease or what kind of ailment or what kind of wellness this person has. You have to take a lot of other things, you have to use other methodology also. So it's primarily more effective for a learning and development rather than selection. So that's my response. There is a question, and again, what are the effective ways to sensitize employees on value system and how we can measure? If I can give a very rapid fire answer, sensitize employees on value system through role modeling. Most of us as a leader forget that we are living in a glass case. People are watching us. And especially at a senior level, vice president, general manager level, people are watching you. Are you role modeling? Are you practicing what you are preaching? So merely saying that this is a value which we espouse, unless and until you practice, you demonstrate, it will not percolate. So you become a role model. That's one of the best way, I think. That's one of the way how I would like. So would you like to add something to this? Okay, so Mohit is going, he has to take a flight. So on behalf of this panel and on your behalf, I would like all of us to join and give him a round of applause for his Thank
you. It's important for you, the leaders, to be able to have that role modeling effect on the rest of the organization. However, there are other ways to make it more sustainable and make it stick. I think something which was spoken about earlier in the panel also. Actually, not just keep values as something which is a nice plan, but put it as part of people's feedback and appraisals. So, I mean, there's the classic story of what Jack Welch did at Yale in the heydays, where he said that, look, there's this 2 by 2. Here are my people who have high performance, but they're low on value. In terms of alignment of value, there's an issue. So I think start measuring, actually start, and not just measure and give feedback to people. People need to have consequences on that. And I may be performing well, but if I'm not aligning the values, because then that itself creates that sense of urgency that this is something important. I think that's the second one I can think of. I think the third one is continuous reinforcement. There is no, I mean, we talked about managing the performance parameters on which everyone gets assessed in Accenture and Spito where he or she works. But every year, there's a mandatory certification that I need to go through. But at my level, it's even more. And if I fail that, it shows up, and I need to have a conversation with my HR business partner or my supervisor, what happened to me, why aren't we? So it's important because we tend to forget. So I think reinforcement, whatever mechanism it could be training programs, it could be online materials, whatever it is, that's very important because we all know muscle memory, right? You have to build that muscle memory. So those are a couple of other thoughts about what you mentioned.
बैटरी को दिखा रहा है, तो बैटरी समझ नहीं आ रही, बैटरी ले आए बोलेगा ये इसमें निशान लगा हुआ है, ब्लैक कलर
all good
क्रॉस
case
का
studies
निशान
which
लगे
is happening in your organization, whereby you if a particular person or a team has done a great job in terms of following a certain particular behavior or a value system, if you can spread this word across the organization in a very, very structured way, reward people, based on that kind of behavioral manifestation, probably we can, what you can measure, you can control. So if you can do that, probably the values and this kind of behavior can be reinforced. Yeah, you wanted to add something, please.
So we can have technology in our organization, lots of applications are in the market. But the one question which HR faces when all these proposals for implementing different applications for tracking different parameters is proposed to the board of directors management. So is anything designed in this app to track ROI for all that we are planning to do in terms of technology and customer centricity and all that?
So, authentic answer, like true answers. And what we do, we just take that information back from you, and then basis that we come back to you with the ROI. That what kind of ROI would you get out of such kind of changing process or adopting this technology? So it is basically, even you could have it at your place also, but I would say that it depends on you, how do you want to measure that. Assuming that from HR perspective, ROI, if you are able to reduce the attrition rate by 1% or 2%, that is also one of the, I would say, ROI parameters. Similarly, you may improve the employee satisfaction, or you may, I would say that you may be able to move people from here and there and promote within organization. That is another kind of, I would say, that satisfaction level you are working on. So I would say that it depends. So generally, like if I know that because from board of director perspective or organization top management perspective, they look for that what kind of ROI would they get if they go ahead with this kind of change or addition of technology. So generally, these are just provided by the technology provider most of the time. But still, if you have different parameters, etc., we gather that information, provide you back. But if you have some other, I would say, parameters that you want to calculate yourself, you can also give some kind of score over there, and then you can also calculate.
I'd like to add to this. So I think the problem typically comes when you say employee experience will improve. What is that dollar value that you carry to the business, right? So I think a lot of organizations face this challenge when
your mic is not working.
So yeah. So I think when you go to board of directors and you say that, okay, yes, the experience of now doing 5 different processes in the organization is going to get better. But what's the ROI? What's the dollar value that you're adding to the organization? And that's the question I think she was trying to ask. So in these scenarios, what you typically try and do is map it out to the core, metrics that you track and see is employee experience in general impacting that or not. Is it going to impact iteration? Is it going to impact, let's say, higher, ROI from an individual? Essentially, is it going to, so from a sales perspective, let's say you're a sales order, is it going to impact their, higher value of, contracts? Is it going to impact the time of getting a contract? So all of these interventions you try and map it out, but I can completely understand that when it comes to the customer centricity, especially when it comes to the HR employee experience part of it, becomes very tough sometimes to drive ROI. I would just work with the vendor, try and map it back to your core metrics that you track. But I'm 101% sure that ENPS moving forward is going to get more and more will be given more and more importance. Today organizations have started measuring it, but I think it's going to be a journey wherein they'll start also taking this as a business business metric to be tracked year on year. I'm sure we're on that journey in India and we'll get there.
If I can add, this is a very important question, and especially for the leaders, those who are heading departments or general managers and vice versa. So in addition to what has been said, I would like to highlight another aspect. it is also the responsibility of the leaders to influence our own leaders. It's not that they are also our customer, they are also our stakeholder. So if I am the vice president or if I am the CHRO, one of my role is that how do I make my stakeholder attuned to what is happening in this world? How do I make him, pardon this language, HR friendly, HR oriented? And I believe that for a leader, for a CHRO, for a vice president, 20% of his customers are top leadership customers. If you can invest on them, if you can share with them what is happening in this world, what is happening in this organization, that organization, share some case studies, article, film, etc., 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 they become aware and they see it. So, making them ready before you invest into certain technological investment, preparing them is also very important. It's not only giving data, but preparing them to accept these new realities and new challenges. That's also something I think as a HR leader, we have to invest our time. Our job is not only to influence people down below. Influencing this population is very tough, but that's something which gives big time reward. This is my personal experience.
I have a question that every technology sounds fancy. So how do I understand science? So what works for one business, would that really be helpful for me? First of all, do I even require it? So how does one assess that?
So, having worked with 40 plus, what would have worked for one might not work for the other in the same exact fashion. So the framework might be the exact same, but how you deliver the entire intervention might change, right? So what is important for you to understand is every organization is different, so take an open-minded pilot approach. When I say pilots, I mean you do cheap pilot. You say you're going to roll it out to let's say 1/3 of the population or 1/5 of the population. You're going to see the experiment. If it works out of them, you're going to roll it out to everyone else, right? And I think that's the best way forward. Now technology providers are also getting accustomed to this kind of an approach.
So I think it's important also, and I will build on what Dr. Singh said. Often we have a mindset that, oh, I'm an HR, the CIO should drive the agenda. Yes, the CIO has a role, but I know my issues from a business outcome perspective as an HR leader better. So first I need to understand, and I think I'll also mention this, understand what are we solving for? What are my objectives or outcomes that I want to drive? It's not that, oh, there are these new fancy technologies, I have RPA, I have AI, I have machine learning, now let's figure out where to apply them. That's often the approach which happens. I'm not trying to say anything negative about CIOs. Some CIOs are also very, very odd. However, it has to be a partnership approach. It should be that a decision was taken and then you're trying to force it. That often happens, and unfortunately, HR tends to be a little lower down the order many times when it comes to the technology waves. That's also that needs to change. I think we need to drive a little bit of our own destiny when it comes to what is it that we want to do. But don't start with there's a technology and I want to use it. Start with what am I trying to solve for? That's the real question.
Yeah, I have answered, but I just want to add further. So I would say that the product looks fancy, and even this is a fancy word. And if I give you, I would say different product which has no fancy things, and you would say this product is useless, but actually the product could work, any or every product could work in any organization depending upon if provided you are clear with your objective. Second, I would say that the first and foremost thing required to make any project successful is to be ready with the change. Because most of the time what happens that we want something, but we don't want to take ownership first of all. We want IT to drive or we want others to drive, and we don't want to take out time whenever we need. So that actually creates a lot of problem. So I have experienced that the same as you mentioned, that the same project is successful in one organization, but the same product is failure in other organization. The main reason is that team is they are very open-minded. They are ready to accept some kind of changing processes or engineering of process. But at the same time, they are also visioning what they are looking for. Their objective is clear and don't look for any technology with I would say that smaller vision. Like if I have to solve only learning problem, assuming, then you don't consider that since the performance team is different or talent team is different than learning, so let us focus on our area rather than focus on other areas. So HR is one function. If you look at that as one function and then take that pieces one by one, considering that every HR function in mind, then you would see that those dots will get connected and you would see the value.
Any other learning?
I have one.
Make it a little wider.
Yeah, I have the reason why we wanted to constitute this very diverse panel discussion today, because quite often as HR professionals we face a lot of dilemmas and questions. We are living in times where technology is becoming big in HR also, automation. While it is nice, smart, trendy to use that, and it's a tool which we must use. At the same time, we must also make sure that we do the right things in the right manner. Therefore, we had an expert from talent and organization also, so that it is impactful and it creates a value. Values are very important and value can hold some discussion, but I'm sure there is a lot of areas we can yet discuss. My request to the panel members, in case there are any questions from our side, please be queries. We could facilitate another round of similar discussion maybe in the near future, and because I find this very, very engaging, and I'm sure there are many questions which might be there out in the audience. So that's my.
I think I stand here and I can say that I learned a lot from my young cohorts, especially Neeraj and Ajay, and of course brilliant Sumit. Invariably at the end I always ask, what next? What do I do with this? And I think unless and until we transfer this knowledge into action, it is meaningless, it is useless. So, and that is where I am invoking Javed Akhtar and I am reciting a poem. Javed Akhtar तो मैंने नहीं लिखा था, लिखा तो खैर मैंने ही है, लेकिन जावेद अख्तर इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ ताकि आप ध्यान से सुनिएगा। तो इतना कुछ होने के बाद अब क्या किया जाए? चलो कुछ करें, चलो कुछ करें, चलो कुछ अलग करें। आसमान पर एक परचम फहरा दें, हवाओं के नाम कोई गीत गा दें, फूलों से परिंदों से बातें कर लें, कुछ हो न सके तो मोहब्बत कर लें, चलो कुछ करें। कहीं कोई बहता दरिया देखें, किसी जंगल में चुपचाप बैठें, किसी फकीर की बातें सुने, किसी बावले को नाश्ता देखें, चलो कुछ करें, कुछ अलग करें। This is a very long poem, so I know that we have limited time. So I recite the last stanza, and I would like your attention to this. चलो एक मंदिर में नमाज पढ़ लें, चलो एक मस्जिद में आरती करें। Times are changing. If we continue to behave and think and act the way we have been thinking till today, we will not be victorious tomorrow. If we want to be on top of the world, we will have to think crazy, contrary. I was very happy yesterday when I don't remember, somebody was talking. So we are living in crazy times. And in crazy times, we need crazy thinking and crazy people. एक मंदिर में नमाज पढ़ लें, किसी मस्जिद में आरती कर लें, किसी पत्थर पर बीज बो दें, किसी मोमिन को काफिर कर दें, चलो कुछ करें। और कुछ न कर पाए तो क्यों नहीं कर पाए, इस बात पर बहस करें।